Dana from Zero to Income here, and I'd like to impart to you some email tips. Let's remove some of that frustration from email campaigns and also help you improve that open rate, not necessarily the click-through rate at this point. Let's just work on the open rate. We've got to get people opening emails before we can get them to click on stuff. We can't just throw a bunch of garbage in there and say, hey, I hope that you click on this so I can sell you something. That's not really the right perspective to have. So let me share my screen. Here is the meager little itpath.net email list that I have, 40-something people. However, what you'll notice here is that my open rates are awesome. What am I doing to achieve these open rates? Anything above 21.5% is good. 21.5 is the average open rate. I've got some that are up to 50%. That is awesome. That's awesome. That means out of my email list, 20-something people are opening it because I've only got, 40-something people on here. Now, this is as I build the list. As I build the list and it gets larger, there's going to be some offers and things that I'm offering a wider group of people. But right now, I'm just trying to deliver them some value to keep them engaged, keep them opening those emails and interacting with some content. I, right now, am not concerned with this click-through rate. And I'm not concerned with the unsubscribe rate. The unsubscribe rate, if something spikes on your unsubscribe on a particular email, you got to go back and look at that email because probably you sent the wrong message to your people. So there are 3 essential things that are going to help build an email list. And let's walk through them one at a time. I'm going to show you my website, ITPath. And let's talk about the first one here. And that is that you're collecting qualified email addresses. If people subscribe and they just drop off, they're probably not a qualified address. What do I mean by a qualified address? Somebody that's actually going to that your message is going to resonate with. You're solving a problem for this person, and that is going to make them a qualified email. So in the aspect of just having an email, like an email form, one, you've got to be offering them something of value that resonates and connects back with the problem you're trying to solve. So I'm trying to solve for people how do they get started on their IT journey? So here's one of my collectors right here. Well, I'm going to give you this free personal assessment. This is one of my lead magnets. And you can fill this out. Now, nobody's going to fill this out if they think that my website is about sewing and they want to know about sewing. They're not going to fill this out because it's not even close to being in IT. And down here, I've got not sure if IT is for you, 7 days of encouragement. And I've had a few people get onto this one as well. By the way, I'm actually just now getting to the place where I'm going to start doing some ads, and I'm going to dive into that. How do we blow this email list up by working on some ads that can help drive traffic? Right now, this is organic. The 40-something people you saw, this is all organic. itpath.net. They're finding it, stumbling on it. They're just kind of getting connected that way. Right. So those are 2 of my lead magnets there. Let me refresh this page. I'll show you one more. And that's this one right here. It's an exit pop-up in Kajabi. I actually have a video about how you make an exit pop-up in Kajabi. It's really easy. But I've got this free mini course that I'm giving away as well. So 3 things, pardon me, 3 things that how I'm interacting with them to collect these email addresses. So if they select this, they're going to be able to create an account, and I'm going to get them on my email list that way as well. So those are 3 ways that I am collecting those email addresses so that they are good email addresses on the front end. Because if you end up with garbage on your list, you're not going to get good open rates. You're not going to get good click-through rates when it comes time to market to them, and you're going to get a lot of opt-outs. So that's what we're trying to avoid at this stage of the game. Let's get good email addresses on your list. So 1, you've got to collect qualified email addresses. All right, let's go dive into some of these emails, and I'll show you point number 2. Point number two is your subject line. Your subject line has got to get them going, connected, somehow solving a problem for them. And you might say, oh my goodness, but okay, so I'm sending emails Monday through Friday, and then I've got my podcast email that goes out on Saturday. And you might be thinking you're overwhelmed right now. How I can't do this. How am I going to ever come up with content, a subject line and content that is going to help these people move forward on their journey? It's actually not that hard. If you're overwhelmed by the thought of having to draft that many emails, it's really not difficult. One, you can make a template, and so that you don't have to recreate that step every time. Two, you can use ChatGPT and just speak honestly. Speak from snippets of your own story. I remember a time when I was like this, and I found this tool to help me. Tips, tricks, anything that is out there, you can use ChatGPT to give you a list of ideas and run with it. And it's not, and we'll do a video on ChatGPT and some other tools that I'm using later, but it's not really that hard. Okay, so you've got to get over that thinking that it's difficult. And actually, for me now, I would say that it is plug for Greg McKeown's book, Effortless. Man, this is a great book, and it's really helped me rethink some of my own strategies. Greg, you've got a fantastic book there. So that's this subject line has got to connect. This is the gateway, right? The subject line is the gateway into the content. If your subject line stinks, then you're going to get opt-outs and people aren't going to open the email. All right, so let's look at another one. This is a interview that I did on IT Path with my buddy, Sean Elliott, who's right here in this picture. Sean and I started the zero to income journey here for you all. As we struggle through our businesses, we want to help you struggle through yours. Let's shorten the pain points. Shameless plug. So this was an interview with Sean, and you'll see my podcast stuff is hot, 50% open. And I've got the links in here and everything they need, but likely they've already got that saved in their podcast platform on their phone, and this is basically a reminder. Oh, cool, I got a new podcast. Let's see who it is. For the 20-something people that are out there that are on my list. And we've got this one. I use ChatGPT to help draft me a little story. What if Albert Einstein got into IT? And so it's got this cute little story here. And I used Midjourney to create this graphic, and it's got a good open rate. Here's one where I just kind of poured my heart out a little bit to my people and said, hey, you know what? I made a mistake with one of my offers, and I would like to give you all this free course. So I just kind of was like, you know what? I'm just going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to apologize to my people. And I ran an email campaign with lower open rates. And I realized after a couple of days that it was because the messaging wasn't very solid in that 5-day campaign. I think I might have only had one person opt out. But I mean, that's one person that I could have maybe sold to if I kind of like came across the wrong way, came across like me, the hero. I'm not the hero. You all are the hero. I'm trying to help you all get to the next step. Just kind of trying to be a guide in this process. So that was an apologetic email. So the subject line and the content's got to connect. So first thing I said was what? That you've got to get qualified emails. The second thing is that your subject line has to connect. Your body has to be, and it doesn't have to be a long email. It can just be a short-bodied email, but it's got to solve some sort of problem or something for your people. The third thing that often gets overlooked is the consistency of when you're sending your emails. You've got to have consistency from daily consistency to the hour that you send at. Now, you're going to see some of these were sent at some odd times. And the reason for that is, one, I had this podcast release that I did, and there was something wrong with it. So I just kind of sent out some updates saying, hey, stay tuned, it's coming. And look at these rates, man, 69% opened this one, probably because they realized there was something going on with the podcast and couldn't open the new podcast. And so I sent them this little podcast update to tell them that. And so that was huge. So I could have bundled something else in with this podcast update. Hey, sorry about your frustration with this. Let me give you a free mini course. Kind of overkill, but but for the most part, you'll see from looking at this, you've got 8 o'clock, right? I send my emails Monday through Saturday, 8 o'clock in the morning with intentionalness to that. Because if they're seeing that at 8 o'clock, I know that that's going. They're gonna know. They're gonna get in a habit of seeing my brand, seeing my name, seeing IT Path, and that's going to get them. IT Path. This is a real business that I'm working on. And zero to income. You're like, well, what are you doing with this zero to income thing? Well, I understand that the infrastructure to make all this stuff happen can be very complicated. So we're trying to at zero to income to simplify that. So that's why I'm actually doing a video about IT Path here. But you've got to have consistency in these sending times. So if you're going to send your emails maybe once a week on a Monday, just be consistent. Same day, same time, right? As they used to say on the old Batman episode, same bat time, same bat channel. You always know every day it's going to be on. And we want to be able to build that consistency. All right. Those are the 3 things that will help you get started in building your email list. It's frustrating for us when we see people do these kinds of videos and they've got this like tens of thousands of emails on their list. And we're like, how do I get to that point? Well, this is the fundamental building blocks that get us to the point where our list is going to grow to thousands and thousands and thousands of people. But we've got to have the consistency at the beginning. And then once we have the consistency, then we can start driving some ad revenue to point to the website so that we're getting our website, our ideas in front of more people that have an opportunity to get on our email campaign list. All right. Dana from Zero to Income. Hope you guys have an awesome day. Make it great.